Hey everybody, this is Nick, one of the partners at And Sales, a rep group in the Great Lakes region, and I am here today talking about content that works in the gift and home industry with my good friend Kaylee, the founder and owner and worker amongst her team at Paired Up Social. Hey Kaylee, thank you for coming back and joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun the last podcast that we had. So if you guys missed it, you can go and look at it. And it's a series that we're going to be doing. So it's a lot of really great information.
Yes, and thank you for doing this series with us, and thank you for hitting record.
Yeah, that was awesome. The first time, we got to preface this. We got to talk about it. So the first time we did this, we did such a great job, and it was like 20 some minutes in, and I'm like, whoops,
Oops.
so sorry about that, but we did really good in the practice.
Yeah. So, practice, 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 right? And that's how we
Hey,
get good content.
happen. These things
Yeah.
happen, and that you gotta have to go with it and just say, well, now I'm going to know this a lot better than I did the first time.
So, let's talk a little bit about making content uh, for our industry and maybe starting off with shooting tips. What kind of camera do I need? What equipment? And yeah, what advice can you get?
So, that graphic said it perfectly. You don't need to have this really, professional equipment. Now, if you have that and you like that, then great. But overall, an iPhone will be just fine for this. So, an iPhone will work as long as it's one of the newer ones. I think the older iPhones, the quality isn't as great.
When you
So
say
that
older to newer, like, do you need the most updated?
No, I would say anything like 12 and up. So, I mean, 12 and up would probably be best. If it's below that, and you kind of run into some quality issues. It works, again, it works, but not as clear and crisp as you could get. Um, aside from the camera, do you need a light? Do you need that? No, not necessarily, as long as you know how to use the room correctly. If you don't, then having a light's going to be great. Sometimes the reason I err on the side of no light is because I sometimes think that people look a little bit more blown out when there's a light. So, natural environment, using the windows. The tip is going to be face the window. The person you're videoing should face the window, and your back should be to the window. So you're using the natural light there. If you are in a place where the lights are just straight down dome lights, yeah, you're going to have to figure that out. That's not going to be a good quality spot for you. But you want to get a tripod. You can get those for like $15 to $20 on Amazon. But a tripod's really going to help with shakiness. Now, yes, you can hold your phone, it's fine, but the tripod helps to be able to kind of move and do different types of photos or videos very easily with less shakiness. So that's kind of what you're looking at to have when you're doing your shooting. Just making sure that you try a couple of things. You may want to just say, okay, well, that one looked okay, but let me try it this way and see which one looks better.
So I don't need to feel like I need a pro studio for some product pictures and just moderately good lighting, an iPhone, and pay attention.
Exactly. Because I mean, here's the thing. In this age, like most people are kind of just giving out information wherever they are. If your content is adding value to the person who's watching, then they're not going to really care as long as it's not too disruptive, whether the lighting is flickering in the back or something like that.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I think I'm having some Wi-Fi issues because I can tell there's a little bit of a lag. Is it distracting enough to where we need to worry about it, or we think we're okay?
It's on and off. I think we'll fight through.
Okay. But that's one of the things that if it's okay, then you can keep going. If it becomes a menace, then it's like, okay, you kind of have to redo it, or, that's like real time stuff.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
so okay. So now I've taken my shots. And let's talk photos versus video, and how do I I guess my goal is to go viral. Is that the right goal? And how do I make my content reach the right people? How do I make it go further? How do I get the most out of each of my shots?
So the goal is always to go viral, but I'm glad that was your first thing that you brought up, because the odds of going viral are very low. So when you want to go viral, you want that to be the end goal, but we can't let that cloud the judgment of doing content. So what really needs to be behind the content, if you want to go check out our first video where we talked about the 4 E's of content, go check that out. We'll put that in the link below in the description because I go into more detail, but you want to have something like that behind it. So that, again, if your video or your image or whatever you're posting adds value, it has a better chance of going viral. So that needs to be the main that needs to be the main thing you're thinking about. So looking at all of what your brand is about, who are you talking to, and what are you wanting them to get out of it, really, right? So you gotta kind of go with that. What that graphic said is, going with the algorithm, which basically means, okay, what are the people who are following you? What do they want to know? And that will help for them to pick that up and then have the potential to go viral. Later on, we're going to talk about some other ways that can help. But when it comes to making content go further, the point of this is that I want this to not be overcomplicated. So the biggest way for anyone to succeed at doing their own social media is if they keep it simple. So let's take one video, for example. This podcast that we're recording right now. Let's just use that as an example.
It's right here in front of us, so it's a good
Yeah,
example.
we may go 10 minutes. We may go 15 minutes. We may go 20 minutes. Let's take that video, and then what you can do is you can put it through, it's rev.com, rev.com. Okay. And it'll transcribe the whole video. So then you can go in there and find sound bites that you like. Okay. Then go cut those into short reels. Okay. Then you can also copy paste the text and make it an image with like a quote on there. Okay. You should
That's
be able to
cool.
take a video and make it into 30 different types of content. And that's just by being able to look at it and see it and say, okay, this section adds value, this section adds value. And we can then push back to the main video. So then it's all going back to the main video and it's a big circle.
Gotcha. Just because I know there is a little bit of a lag here for anybody who didn't fully catch that, it's REV, like victory, right? .com, and you can upload your video there, and it will transcribe the video.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you go full screen real quick. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna open this door, and maybe that'll help with my Wi-Fi. We'll see. Okay. There we go. But yeah, so REV, I love it. It's one of my favorite things. It's very inexpensive. It can also help you to put captions on your videos as well. I get nothing out of that. So okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about taking the text. Okay. So like say this video and I say the 4 E's of content. You could go in there and just copy and say that 4 E's of content give value for social media. And then in the post, have more of the information of what that actually means. And that's a post.
Gotcha. So using Rev, you get your quotes. You can then use that in the text of your posts. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
And that is going to help you with your various algorithms. Does Instagram, Facebook have their own algorithms? Am I gearing towards Google's algorithm?
I mean, okay, so Google SEO, which we're gonna jump to, Google SEO should be behind every video, because what happens is if you have a consistent Facebook page or a consistent Facebook or consistent YouTube channel, those are always going to, when something is being searched, that will always jump to the top. So when you're thinking about a video whether it's, how to create content quickly, how to do 2 months of content in 3 hours. Though you want to think like what people are going to be searching for, and that should be the title of the video, or it should, and that's Google SEO. But then
Right.
again, at the same time, you want that behind every type of content that you're creating.
I think I heard you say it a number of times, consistency.
Yes. Consistency is key. And that's why setting it up for success and not making it too big. Like, let's say you have one video you can work with. Let's take that video and let's maximize it the best way we can.
I think that's probably one of the best tips that, I mean, it just sounds, it sounds like, maybe we're all working maybe in many ways too hard to, because we're overthinking it, right?
We're overthinking it. Yep,
Yeah.
you're overthinking it. And, when you're looking at taking that content, you want to make sure that you have a content calendar. So the biggest thing that we can do with content calendars is you can go in there, and I'm going to pull one up here for you so that you guys can see it.
As you're pulling that up, Kaylee, what companies, hint, hint, can I get a good content calendar from?
And sales. Oh, wait. I meant what we're looking at. Sorry, I was like looking at. Well, no, you don't need to. Just go in your Google Calendar. Don't buy anything. Do free. I'm all about free. I don't want you spending any money.
I love that.
Yeah. So again, set yourself up for success. Now, if you want to buy something, you can just go Google it. I don't work with any content calendar other than Asana, which unless you're a bigger company, I wouldn't use. But if you just go in and use Google, you can just type in if you look at this is kind of how we do it. We label it what we're going to be talking about. And then you can click in here and you can write your content and then label your video or your image the same title as that, so that you can find it on your computer easily. Now, also, let's go to Facebook, where if you want to just create it and then have it in there already, then I can show you how easily it is to upload it, where you can see it, again, free, because you already have a Facebook account.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then you can upload this in here. So we'll go to, I'm going to have you share this tab so you guys can go on this journey with me. Okay. And you can also see how many accounts that I work on. Okay, Meta Business Suite. Okay. All right, this is just a random client that we have. So I'm not going to even worry about it. So I clicked on Planner. If you look at Planner, you can look at it by week. Here. Stop. Here. Or you can look at it by month. Okay, and then when this loads, you'll be able to see it.
If it loads.
The bane of my
But
existence.
that is the just fact of the matter behind websites, and especially some of the bigger ones. And
There it is.
sometimes things take a minute.
Yeah. So you can see it here, and these are all the days of the week, and this is the content that's going out for this client. If you look up in the right-hand corner where I'm circling with my cursor, you can see where it says create post, and you can do a drop-down menu, create reel, create story. Then you can, let's just create post. You can go out to both Instagram and Facebook at the same time and have it scheduled in this calendar. So you can put your text on the screen here. You can add the photo here or the video, whichever one you're going to do. And then it adds to your calendar. And bada bing, bada boom, you've got your content calendar. You can see it. You can schedule it. You're working ahead because, like in the last video, which you can go back and watch if you haven't seen it yet, I talk about getting ahead to be able to stay on task and not get too overwhelmed.
Yeah. Dedicating time blocking. That's the only way you're going to get it done. Yeah. So Sound, music, bada bing, bada boom, as you say. Um, where do I find those? How do I get them as a part of my content?
Yeah, so I'm gonna leave this up on the screen. When you're in Instagram, this is how you find it. This is just Instagram.
Right.
But you're gonna be when you're scrolling through Reels, so you're watching Reels, you can go and look at the bottom where the red arrow is pointing. There's a little arrow that's pointing up. That means the sound is going viral. Now, you can also just go to add audio when you're creating a video and it will show the arrow as well, but you're really trying to look for that little itty bitty arrow. And that says that that sound is going up, it's trending. So that's kind of what you're looking at to when you're trying to pick a sound of some sort. You want that. But the one thing I want you to think about is when you do look at that, I want you to click on the sound and then it shows all of the reels that have been using that sound. I want to make sure you're not using a sound that has been used over 100,000 times. Okay. You're like, wow, that's a lot. There's a lot of reels that
Sure.
have the arrow that are 100,000 or higher. We don't want that. You want to stay below that. Ideally, I want you in the 20 to 40, maybe up to 60.
Okay. And why is that?
Because when they're up above 100,000, they've kind of been saturated. You're oversaturated. The odds of you going viral, unless you're Taylor Swift or Kim Kardashian, are going to be very, very low. Okay. So if it's a little bit lower, then you have a better chance of getting pushed by the algorithm a little bit more than if it's been used so many times. Now, there are some that work that are like, hey, this just works with my brand. I need to use it and it's going to be above that. That's okay. But on average, I want you to use them that are lower than 100,000.
I think that's a great tip. And do I, as a company, have to have any concerns about the sounds that are used?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't know
it's a
how else
great
to put
question.
that.
Yeah, it's a great question because if it's saying, really bad words or it's not on brand for you, then don't use it. You can listen. That's why I always make sure to listen to it all the way through my sound because sometimes I had one moment, never again has it happened, where I didn't listen to the whole sound and there was some bad words and this realtor was very religious person
Of
and they
course.
were like, this is not for me, and I was like, oh no, I didn't even hear that part.
Right.
um so it's important to finish through how long your video is going to be and listen to it and not get too ahead of yourself. But
What
yeah.
about in terms of copyright for
Oh,
companies?
well, the thing is as long as you're not running ads, then it's not a problem. You can use that because that's what they're there for. But if you're wanting to run ads, you're not allowed to run an ad or boost a post if you're using copyrighted music. So you have to think, okay, am I ever going to want to use this post as an ad for anything? Then don't use any of those trending sounds.
Great tip.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, I think we have so much more information that's coming out with these podcasts. But it's really important that you take these little tips. And again, if you can leave this video with anything, Nick, it's make it simple. Don't overthink it, and you'll be just fine. Just stay consistent.
Well, I mean, I don't think that I could ask for much more out of this. Did you have anything that you wanted to share? Any samples for various platforms or anything like that? No.
No, I think we're going to be doing that coming up in another podcast as well. So stay tuned for that in one of our coming up podcasts.
Okay, great. Well, until we connect again, I appreciate you so much. And everybody, please look in the description of this video. You can find links to previous videos as well as links to connect with Kaylee and her team at Paired Up Social.
Thank you, Nick, for having me.
Thank you.